Have you ever felt bloated, gassy, cramped for no reason, and it happens so often that you just accepted it as normal? It could be that your gut is trying to tell you something and you're not listening. Irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, affects over 10% of people worldwide. Yet most people just push through the pain, ignoring the warning signs and hoping they will just disappear. But they don't. And in the meantime, the root causes just get worse and the quality of our lives slowly slips away. But it doesn't have to. Hi, my name is Laila, and today we're going to talk about the warning signs you shouldn't ignore, what's really happening in your gut, and a simple test you can do at home to see if your gut is inflamed. Let's get right into it. But before we get into that, let's clear something up. You often hear people talk about IBS and IBD as if they are the same thing, and they are not. And it's important to know the difference to know the cause of your problems. IBS stands for irritable bowel syndrome, and IBD stands for inflammatory bowel disease. Even though they sound similar, they're very different conditions. IBS is considered a functional disorder. This means you went to the doctor, you got a colonoscopy, did a bunch of scans, and everything looked normal. There's no visible damage to your digestive tract, but functionally, things are off. The communication between your brain and your gut is broken. Your digestion becomes unpredictable. You feel the bloating, the gas, the cramping, the discomfort, but on paper, you're fine. This is why so many people feel dismissed when they seek for help for IBS, because the labs say they're healthy, but their gut says something else. And IBD, on the other hand, is a much more serious inflammatory condition. This includes diseases like Crohn's disease and colitis. With IBD, your immune system goes into overdrive, attacking your own digestive tract, causing visible damage, chronic inflammation, bleeding, ulcers, and much higher risk of nutrient deficiencies. IBD is often debilitating, and IBS is often downplayed. And the reason why I bring this up is because whether you have IBS or IBD, the symptoms can be very similar, almost identical. You will have bloating, cramping, diarrhea, constipation, gas, pain, and frustratingly, both IBS and IBD share similar triggers. So gluten, dairy, stress, processed foods, certain fibers. In fact, there is a lot of overlap between the two conditions. And some people with IBS may actually be in early stages of IBD without even realizing. Now that we have the basics down, let's talk about the real reason you're probably here, the symptoms. But before we dive into that, don't forget to hit that like button. Here's the thing with IBS. You don't just wake up one day and it announces itself like, hi, I'm here. No, it creeps in slowly, one symptom at a time, a little discomfort here, a little bit bloating there, until one day you realize that your gut hasn't felt normal in months and maybe even years. And at this point, you accepted that this is just how your body works. But it's not. These are the signs your gut is throwing up like a giant red flag, and the longer you ignore them, the worse they tend to get. So let's break them down. First one is chronic bloating, and we're not talking about the occasional food baby you get after a holiday meal. IBS bloating is next level. It can leave you feel like your stomach is under pressure, like someone's inflating a balloon inside your gut, and it can show up even when you haven't eaten that much. And sometimes it doesn't go away for days. You wake up bloated, you go to bed bloated, and no matter how healthy you try to eat, it keeps coming back. The second one is abdominal pain and cramps. And this one is sneaky because it can easily be blamed on something else like stress, a bad night's sleep, or just a day off. But IBS pain is different. It's a sharp, twisting, cramping, and it's like your gut is throwing a tantrum and you can't seem to calm it down. And what's weird about this is that it often improves after you went to the bathroom, but then it comes back. The third one is irregular bowel movements, and this is probably the most well-known symptom of IBS, but it doesn't look the same for everyone. For some people, it's constant diarrhea. For others, it's soul-crushing constipation. And for many, it's a non-stop back and forth between the two. It's exhausting, it's unpredictable, and it can make every day feel like a game of, will I make it to the bathroom on time? Number 4 is excessive gas. And look, we all have gas, okay? It's a normal part of digestion. But with IBS, it's different. It's relentless, it's uncomfortable, it's often very, very painful. And it doesn't matter if you're avoiding the typical gas-triggering foods. Sometimes your gut is so out of balance that everything seems to cause gas. Number 5 is a feeling of incomplete emptiness. You know that feeling that you go to the bathroom, but it feels like you didn't really go. Like there's still something inside of you that needs to go out. That is another classic IBS symptom. And this is a sign that your gut movement patterns, this is what we call motility, are out of sync. And here's the tricky part. Most people don't just get one symptom, they get a combination of symptoms. So a bit of pain here, some gas there, everything a little bit at the same time, creating a mix and match of discomfort, pain, and unpredictable digestion that slowly chips away your energy, your mood, and your confidence. But here's the good news. Once you finally understand the why behind the symptoms, you can finally start moving forward to fixing the root cause. And that's exactly where we're heading to. Because trust me, your gut isn't just malfunctioning out of nowhere. There's always a reason. And what is causing your IBS? Here's the part that no one really explains. You didn't get IBS because you're just born with a sensitive stomach or, oh, you're stressed. And yes, stress plays a part. But IBS is almost always the result of multiple things stacking up over time. So let's get real. What is actually going wrong inside your gut? The first thing that goes wrong is the communication is broken between your brain and your gut, because the whole day your brain and gut are talking to each other. They're sending signals to each other on when to eat, how much to eat, how to process it, how much acid should be produced, and when to release everything. But with IBS, this is not the case. It's like someone cut the phone line between your brain and your gut. And the result is that your food is not digested properly. Your bowel is moving too fast, is moving too slow, or it's not moving at all. And this will make you feel constipated, bloated, gassy, and irregular bowel movements. The second thing is low stomach acid, and this one surprises a lot of people. Most people think stomach acid is the enemy, but in reality, you need strong stomach acid to properly break down your food, especially the proteins. And more importantly, to kill off unwanted bacteria that hitch a ride to your meals. But with IBS, many people have low stomach acid, maybe from years of antacid use, maybe from chronic stress, maybe from following trendy health advice like drinking alkaline water or overloading on baking soda. And the result? Food doesn't break down properly, proteins rot, bacteria thrive, and those bacteria, they don't just stay in the stomach. The third one is bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. Now, we're not going to go too deep into SIBO because this deserves its own video, but here's the short version. Your large intestine is supposed to be where most of your gut bacteria live. That's their home base, but sometimes they migrate. They creep up into your small intestines, a place that's not designed for a ton of bacterial activity. And when that happens, you eat fiber, you eat sugar, you eat vegetables, and these bacteria start fermenting everything way too early. And the result is gas, bloating, pain, constipation, diarrhea. Does this ring a bell? Yeah. SIBO and IBS overlap in a big way. In fact, many people diagnosed with IBS actually have undiagnosed SIBO driving their symptoms. But again, we will save the deep dive into SIBO for another video. But just know that if you have IBS and you struggle with very stubborn symptoms and nothing seems to work, it is worth to look into this. Number 4, food triggers. And this one might seem obvious, but it goes way deeper than most people realize. Because some foods are IBS landmines. And I'm not just talking about greasy takeouts and junk food. I'm talking about things like gluten. This is a protein in wheat which can irritate the gut lining even if you are not celiac. Dairy, because of both lactose and casein sensitivities. Processed fibers, like the ones snuck into healthy protein bars or keto snacks. And certain vegetables high in FODMAPs. So what are FODMAPs? This is just a fancy acronym for a group of carbohydrates that are fermentable, meaning your gut bacteria feed on them and produces gas as a byproduct. Here's a super quick breakdown. Oligosaccharides found in wheat, garlic, onions, legumes. Then there's disaccharides, that's lactose found in dairy. Monosaccharides, like excess fructose in certain fruits and sweeteners. And polyols, sugar alcohols like sorbitol and mannitol found in things like gum, protein bars, and even some fruits and veggies. And there's grains, which don't just contain gluten, but also phytic acid. This is a compound that blocks mineral absorption, robbing your body of key nutrients like iron, zinc, and magnesium. And to make things worse, most grains are sprayed with glyphosate. This is a chemical that acts as an antibiotic, wiping out your good bacteria and making space for the bad ones to take over. And number 5, not a total surprise, stress. You knew this was coming, right? Yeah. So stress doesn't just stay in your head, it directly affects your gut. When you're constantly in fight or flight mode, your body shuts down non-essential processes like digestion. Blood flow gets redirected, stomach acid production slows down, motility weakens, and suddenly your gut is sluggish, inflamed, and totally out of rhythm. And this is why your symptoms get worse when you're busy or having a chaotic moment in your life. So no, IBS isn't random and is not something you just need to live with. It is your body's response to a combination of low stomach acid, bacterial imbalances, inflammatory foods, chronic stress, and a disrupted gut-brain connection. Let's talk about a very confusing topic when it comes to gut health: fiber. Some people swear by it and other people curse it. So, who's right? Here's the truth. Fiber isn't automatically good or bad. It all depends on the state of your gut. And the easiest way to figure out on what side you're on is to do a simple test at home. You're gonna do a 3-day fiber test. Step 1, cut out all fiber from your diet for 3 days. This means no veggies, no grains, no legumes, no fiber supplements. Stick to easy digest, low fiber foods. And for some people, this looks like simple meats, eggs, broth. The next thing you're gonna do is pay attention to how you feel. Is the bloating better? Less gas? Fewer bathroom emergencies? And step 3, after 3 days, reintroduce fiber. Start adding back in some vegetables, fruits, or any other fiber-rich foods that you normally eat. And again, watch how your body responds. If cutting fiber makes you feel better and adding it back makes things worse, that's a major sign that your gut is inflamed, out of balance, or dealing with something like SIBO or IBD. But don't panic, this is not forever. For some people, reducing fiber temporarily gives the gut space to heal. And if you do want to reintroduce fiber back into your life, you can start with small amounts of fermentable fiber, such as sauerkraut and kimchi. That's a great way to start, because these foods come pre-digested by beneficial bacteria, making them easier on your system and helping to gently rebuild your microbiome without overwhelming your gut. And remember, you don't have to live like this. Your gut can heal if you just take the right steps at the right time in the right order. And if you want to learn more about fermented foods and how they can heal your gut, make sure to watch our next video.